Okay, here's my video response to why do I like Power Rangers. Well, for me, yeah, it did start as a kid with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. For some reason, something clicked with me with that show, just at an instant. I guess if some of you may relate, it's just starting getting connected to something without realizing it. Well, it was me. It was my first introduction to martial arts, to all the stunt action, which I did like. I mainly just liked the stunt action, but I definitely got into the Megazord fights a little later on. And I kept watching the show like half-heartedly throughout the entire run until recently when I learned of other fans and are now starting to watch all the other old episodes. So, why should adults like PR? This is going to go a little long with this. First off, it is a kid show, first and foremost. It's made for kids. It's made to promote toys for kids, obviously. That's not to say adults can't like it. There's a lot of children's shows out there right now that are made specifically for kids, but the writing involved in the show actually makes it appeal towards an older audience. You know, like Transformers Animated, Iron Man Armored Adventures, Avatar: Last Airbender, all these shows that went still have a much more older fan base to them because their writing was still more intrigued older fans. So adults can like kid shows. But Power Rangers have a bit of a conflicting history, as I'll show right now. Alright, so when people talk about Power Rangers, they really only mention one season. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. This was the first season, this was the dominant season, this was the one that hit it off all around the world, around the country. The thing is that, for all its quirks, the people left it immediately after it, regardless of the older seasons, and with only this season in mind. The thing is that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 is a bad season. It's very cheesy, the characters are one-dimensional, the plots are repetitive, and it ran too long for over 60 episodes. And a lot of people do know this, and they pretty much think of only that when they think of PR. And it's just kind of sad because later on, other seasons were produced that had better writing, had better character development, but nobody was caring for it at the time. They only thought of this in mind. Only this is PR. So because of that, the ratings dropped, hence Saban selling it to Disney, hence taking it off local stations, hence its cancellation. You see how that runs full circle. And it doesn't just stop with just Power Rangers. This goes for other Toku shows as well. There's a variety of Toku shows in Japan right now, though we never really see them here because people have the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger mentality in mind. So it's just written off as some childish Barney shit that shouldn't be really treated with any respect. Anyway, to further prove that point, let's talk about two shows. Last year, ABC Kids aired the last season of Power Rangers RPM, which is arguably considered one of the better seasons made under Disney's name. With better writing, better acting, just everything better, most part. Now, we have this year a re-airing of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. The same shitty storylines, the same boring characters. Now, which one do you think people cared for more? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So even with better written shows, Season 1 just beats them all away. So it's very hard for Power Rangers to get a name outside Season 1. Now, second question. Could adults like it? That's questionable. Basically, you're asking adults to like a show that they may not like. The show has obvious quirks to it that most people wouldn't like. If you don't have a thing for multicolored spandex superheroes, roll calls imposing, rubber monsters, and giant Megazord fights, the show isn't really for you, regardless. So, I don't blame you for not liking the show, pretty much. Can it appeal towards adults? Well, it's possible. Lately, over the last decade, we have a bunch of superhero movies that have become very successful in theaters. And despite all the stories around them, pretty much these are just guys dressed up in odd looking costumes you would find today looking odd, people walking around with them. They just have a better brand name. Some of these superheroes probably started off cheesy as well, but developed better writing later on due to fandom and popularity. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be hard for anyone to like Power Rangers with this in mind. Is it possible? Yeah. If you were to get into other seasons later on without this in mind, you might enjoy it. You can look at Power Rangers RPM, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Down with Thunder, and if you were to watch that series and you only have this on your mind, put the nostalgia away. Put the cheese, all this, put the Mighty Morphin to the side, and just view these seasons as new. And if you were to go into Super Sentai, also view it as new. You know, and it'll probably change your whole perspective of the whole spandex superhero concept entirely. So if you could try that, and maybe one day it could actually gain more respectable ground like Transformers have gotten in recent years. But it's also possible that spandex superheroes were never really meant to be popular in America, in the US. If that's so, I'll still like it. I mean, I know Super Sentai, I respect Super Sentai, but I treat Power Rangers as completely separate shows, as it should be, and I still like it on its own. It brought me a lot of things that Super Sentai couldn't bring me and would never bring me, and I appreciate it for that. So, yeah, I'll still like Power Rangers even into my dying days. So, that's my video response. Thanks for watching.